Hey, it's Liz here with Moji and Marie from the Feminist Buzzkills Live Pod. Check out the highlights from this week's episode.
Okay, we got this positive affirmation out of Kentucky. Kentucky currently has a ban in place that we're going to find out next week, hopefully, like positive news in that direction. But here we have Kentuckians that have affirmed, no, you should get to have access to abortion care, but it's not getting to happen. And so it totally works the other way too. Like, well, who's at fault here then? And how does this get enforced? How does this get enforced?
Yeah.
To the advantage of the person with a uterus that needs healthcare.
Well, also in Kentucky, it's like so maddening because, you know, they voted to say don't, you know, take away, we don't make a constitutional amendment that we don't have the right to have an abortion. But at the same time, they have their Kentucky House has 8 Democrats and 30 Republicans. Their Senate has 25 Democrats and 75 Republicans. It's like if it's gerrymandering, if it's that people do not have a fundamental understanding of how these abortion bans happen, I gotta believe that every state should be putting an abortion positive measure to the voters. Because if it's a one-person vote, goes to the Constitution, and it doesn't matter what district you live in, I feel like that's the only way at this point that we're going to be able to get abortion rights in these states that are trying to legislate them away.
Yeah, it's really the fastest way to direct democracy.
I think there's a lot of stigma and a lot of thought that people just kind of waltz in off the street at, 33 weeks and decide they're done being pregnant and I'm just going to have an abortion. And that's bullshit. And we know it's bullshit. And the people who say it know it's bullshit. It's just like this fantastical kind of made up story to demonize this type of care and the people who get it and the people who provide it. We see people for all kinds of reasons, the same kinds of reasons we see people early in pregnancy. But one of the big reasons is that people are navigating a web of restrictions, which now is even like stickier and, more difficult to maneuver around. So there are people we see who wanted an abortion 2, 3, 4 months ago and have been trying to navigate all of the costs and barriers and childcare and all that stuff. So we work really closely with abortion funds, and we have a full-time social worker to help coordinate that care for patients. And that's been a really wonderful thing to have access to. Another reason we see people is folks get really bad diagnoses late in pregnancy. I mean, we see people every week who this is a wanted pregnancy and there's something really bad happening. And I really just hope I hope none of these folks standing outside the clinics yelling ever find themselves in that position, because it's really hard. There are also people who did not find out they were pregnant until far later in the pregnancy. And that happens for lots of reasons. Sometimes it's because you're 12 or 13 years old and your periods aren't regular. And so we do see a fair number of young people. And other times it's because, life happens and like not all of us are tracking our periods on an app, and like people don't have regular cycles. And there are some folks who never have a single symptom of pregnancy, which is amazing to me because I had them all when I was pregnant. But it happens, and it really is something that we see. And I think the important thing is not the reasons why people are there. It's that when a person is there and they need an abortion, they are 100% pregnant and they need that abortion, and they are a person that I am taking care of.
Listen to the entire episode of Feminist Buzzkills Live wherever you get your podcasts. Feminist Buzzkills Live, the podcast from Abortion Access Front. New episodes drop Friday. Listen, subscribe, give us 5 stars.